Hello, and thank you so much for joining us here. I'm Netta Irampur, and here at News 8, we are working for you. We're listening to your concerns, investigating your questions, and finding solutions that matter in our community. So we're going to start this special with a deadly virus that's making international headlines and raising a lot of questions here at home. 3 people have died after Hantavirus, that outbreak on this cruise ship. While the cases are rare, the disease is known to show up in California. News 8's Brian White working for you, answering your questions on whether you should be concerned about this.
Yeah, those headlines are alarming. It's drawing new attention to this virus that health officials here in San Diego monitor closely. So let's get into how it spreads, who's most at risk, and what current data shows in our area. Hantavirus is rare, but doctors say it can turn deadly.
Hantavirus can be incredibly serious.
I reached out to Dr. Ahmed Salem, a pulmonary critical care doctor at Sharp Memorial, who's treated hantavirus patients before. He says, unlike COVID or the flu, this virus is not easily spread person to person.
Usually it's transmitted through rodents, so usually it's not human-to-human transmission.
Instead, people are infected by breathing in particles from rodent droppings, often in enclosed spaces like cabins, sheds, or garages.
Once you're infected with hantavirus, it can actually lead to severe and deadly disease. It can cause things like cardiogenic shock and ARDS.
Early symptoms can look like other illnesses, cough, fever, fatigue, but doctors warn some patients can decline quickly.
The thing with hantavirus, the ones who are sick will rapidly decompensate.
He says there's no specific cure, only supportive care, and in severe cases, the virus can be deadly. I checked in with San Diego County Public Health. The last detected case was in 2019, and only 4 cases have been reported in the past 2 decades, just 1 locally acquired, but the virus is still being tracked in the environment. The county's vector control program routinely tests wild rodents. I checked, and so far this year, 6 rodents, mostly mice, have tested positive. That's down from 16 last year and 25 the year before. Experts say the main carriers here are deer mice found mostly in rural, mountain, and desert areas, not the common house mice found in urban homes. Health officials say simple precautions can lower your risk, like avoiding contact with rodents, airing out enclosed spaces, and using safe cleaning methods. Again, health experts stress the risk to the general public is low. Working for you, Brian White, News 8.
All right, thank you, Brian, for answering those questions. And now another possible sales tax increase heading towards San Diego County for voters. A coalition of healthcare workers, first responders, and union leaders submitted more than 151,000 signatures for a measure called the San Diego Health and Safety Act. It would raise the county sales tax by 0.5%, and that money could go towards pollution cleanup, healthcare access, wildfire prevention, and 911 response. Right now, people across the county pay a sales tax rate between 7.75 and 8.75%. The county has 30 days to verify the signatures for a possible November vote, so you might see that on your ballot. Early voting is underway. Speaking of those ballots, as we're just weeks away from the primary election. Have you gotten yours in the mail? The latest poll numbers have Democrat Javier Becerra and Republican Steve Hilton at the top, with several others very close behind. It's still close. Still a lot of noise in this race, with 61 candidates vying for that vote. News 8's Steffi Roche working for you looked into what that high number of candidates could mean in this primary.
Really high stakes election, but a lot of Californians are only now starting to turn their attention to this primary.
That's Thad Kauser, a professor of political science at UC San Diego. He tells me all it takes to run for governor in California is to be a citizen, no more than 1 previous term in office, a filing fee of just under $4,000, and a dream. The result? 61 names on the June 2nd primary ballot.
They are not all serious candidates. Only a very small handful of them have a real shot at winning. But the state constitution creates this process, allows people and allows voters all of this choice. And so that's why when voters open up those ballot books, it'll shortly be arriving, they're going to see a lot more people running for governor than they ever thought possible.
That includes Betty Yee and Eric Swalwell, both of whom have already dropped out. They're still on the ballot because they withdrew after the filing deadline. Since March, the head of the California Democratic Party has been urging candidates to consolidate, worried the split could put two Republicans in the top two spots heading into November. It's a scenario Kauser has looked into.
The challenge for California Democrats this whole race has been they have so many strong candidates. They all think this is their time, this is their race, and they're splitting the Democratic support so thinly that it may be that the two Republicans who are running share that Republican vote. That gets them through into the top two into November. And all the Democrats, because there are so many candidates in the primary ballot, maybe none of them advance to November.
Republicans are hoping for that exact outcome, including California Assemblyman Craig DeLuz.
It's refreshing. The best opportunity we have is to have two Republicans come in, the Republican candidates come in 1 and 2.
I met with Will Rodriguez Kennedy, the chair of the San Diego County Democratic Party. He says even without a clear frontrunner, Democrats are pushing voters to cast their ballots early.
One, because we've seen at the federal level that there may be cause to have concern about whether or not the mail will get to the registrar in time. So we're not only advocating that people get in sooner, but if you're only a week or two out from the ballot, it's best to turn in your ballot directly or to hand it over to the Democratic Party. We can sign over your ballots.
I'm Steffi Roche, News 8.
And now an update to this park in Pacific Beach. Lost its playground, actually, to a king tide that damaged it. Well, finally, it's getting that playground back. So Fanuel Park is what we're talking about with these beautiful views right there at Mission Bay. Fanuel Park has had nothing but swings for months out there, but now a local foundation stepping in with the money that the city did not have to bring more playground features. News 8's Abby Black working for you and shows us what's changing.
We've been working for you for more than a year and a half. When the city removed damaged playground equipment from Fanuel Park, they said they didn't have money in the budget to replace it, so families were left with these swings. Well, now the Parks Foundation stepped in, and they're moving ground to make room for a new playground. Parents watch with excitement as crews move playground parts into the sand pit at Fanuel Park.
At least a year that we didn't really have any play area for our children.
We were here in the fall of 2024 when the city pulled the equipment, and last year when they removed the sand toys.
And the king tides actually undermined the old structure and corroded the bottom of that play equipment.
Back then, the city told us that they didn't have the budget to replace it. So a year ago, they turned to the San Diego Parks Foundation.
That's part of the challenges, is the fact that where do you begin? Everything is important, everything is a priority. So one of the things that we do is we work with many of the Parks and Rec with their team to figure out exactly what needs to be addressed immediately, what can wait a little bit. Do we have the funding?
The foundation raised $45,000 and landed Zoom Recreation to donate and install a $200,000 play structure. There's no metal, so it won't corrode or get as hot, and it's built to handle the tides.
Yeah, it's made all of like recycled plastic and reused materials. So
it's supposed to be a little bit more sturdy from the tide if it ever happens again.
Zoom Recreation shared these renderings with us. There's 2 structures for all ages, 3 slides, and a water play area.
Maybe there'll be a slide. You love slides.
With this now coming into place, we just can't wait.
The foundation says that this could not happen without community donations, including 2 local residents who pitched in. And with budget cuts, they say that support is more important than ever.
We're really excited.
The playground is expected to be ready by Memorial Day.
Knowing that there is a safe place for him to play at, and we can take advantage of this beautiful scenery.
In Pacific Beach, Abby Black, News 8.
Oh yeah, playgrounds with views are always very helpful around here. Still ahead, tickets for driverless cars, how California is cracking down on companies like Waymo by giving new powers to police. Plus, this summer will look a little different above Mission Bay when SeaWorld's new drones take flight. Welcome back. Waymo is coming to San Diego, but new state rules could come with it. California will soon let police ticket driverless taxis directly. Yeah, driverless. Waymo says its cars are safer than human drivers, but some recent incidents are raising questions. News 8's Richard Allen working for you with what these changes could mean for us in San Diego.
Waymo just drove around the school bus.
In Atlanta last September, this Waymo was caught on camera blowing past a school bus, stopped with its red lights flashing, a $1,000 violation for a human driver. And in December, a blackout in San Francisco caused more than 1,000 Waymo robotaxis to stall at intersections throughout the city, leading to major traffic disruptions. A month earlier, a Waymo in San Francisco stalled in front of this fire truck. And in San Bruno, police pulled over this Waymo taxi after it made an illegal U-turn. But there was no human driver to issue a ticket to. Under previous DMV rules, traffic tickets had to be issued to a driver. But that is now changing as the DMV is adopting new rules for autonomous vehicles, allowing law enforcement to issue tickets to the companies who operate robotaxis, a move that many San Diegans are applauding.
I think that's a good idea because I think who's accountable for if they do anything wrong? Like it's literally a driverless vehicle.
Of course. Yeah, you put other people's lives at risk, so why not?
Yes, if they're breaking the law, anyone should. I mean, anyone, right? There's no one driving. Whoever the owner is.
This change in ticketing rules comes as newly proposed legislation out of Sacramento would place more restrictions on robotaxi companies like Waymo throughout the state.
It's really trying to bring some of the basic traffic congestion controls and some of the basic rules of the road that the rest of us experience.
State Senator Dave Cortese has proposed SB 1246, which would add more oversight to autonomous vehicles, including requiring a mandatory minimum ratio of 1 remote assistant for every 3 robotaxis a company has on the road, and require a company to be able to respond in person to an emergency within 10 minutes.
Waymo, come on! Go!
We're trying to make sure these non-human cars have somebody responsible for making sure that that they secure the kind of emergency service that they need just as quickly, and that there's a human in contact with those first responders all the time.
The times we are in, right? And that was News 8's Richard Allen reporting. You may have already seen Waymos with humans behind the wheel around town, but Waymo says it plans to begin the driverless operations around the middle of this year. As for the new DMV ticketing rules, they will start July 1st. And now SeaWorld San Diego announcing when their new summer drone show will begin. So here's an example of what that could look like. The first show will happen Friday, May 22nd. Park guests can watch it every night this summer through August 9th. Now, in April, the California Coastal Commission unanimously approved the amusement park's request to replace their nightly fireworks with a drone show. It'll feature 600 drones. They're synchronized to music, inspired by, as you can tell, marine life and ocean conservation. And coming up next here, charging electric cars in San Diego. We're going to show you the new strategy to keep people moving as more EVs hit the road. Welcome back. We now have an update from the city of San Diego after we first brought you a story about a bike lane project in Little Italy. Our Lady of the Rosary Church and the Little Italy Association say the redesign makes it harder or even more dangerous for parishioners to get to their services. The project replaced curbside parking with so-called floating parking, which are spaces separated from the sidewalk by a protected bike lane in between. Church leaders want curbside parking restored. Cycling advocates say the redesign keeps parking intact while making the street safer for riders.
This is about ensuring that the doors of the church remain truly accessible to all.
When we talk about access, we really think holistically, and it includes equity. Not everyone can afford a car.
Working for you, we contacted the city. We received a statement saying, in part, the protective flex posts have been removed from a 60-foot section of curb directly in front of the church, providing direct access and a loading zone for mass and any church events. San Diego is investing millions to bring EV chargers to underserved neighborhoods. But will this be enough to power a shift in EV purchases? News 8's Vanessa Paz breaking down where those new charging stations are going and who they're meant to serve.
From Skyline to Encanto and into the South Bay, San Diego is expanding EV charging into communities that have long had fewer options. New stations are planned for libraries and rec centers across Council Districts 4 and 8, areas the City and Air Pollution Control Districts say have some of the worst air quality and have historically been underserved. City leaders like Heather Warner say it's not just about convenience, it's about access.
We needed to make sure that there was charging available throughout the city, especially in our neighborhoods where you may not have the electrical capacity at your building or at your home.
But that strategy raises a bigger question. If electric cars are still out of reach for a lot of families, will the chargers actually get used?
Charging follows EV adoption, and one of the things we needed to do was reverse that pattern, because a lot of times in those communities, you're not going to invest in an EV when you know you can't charge it. So we needed to make sure that we actually got the chargers in first.
The project is being backed by more than $16 million in county grants and a private partnership.
They bring the capital, they operate, they have the concession and to operate on city parking lots, and then it's a profit sharing agreement effectively.
The goal, cut emissions, improve air quality, and address one of the biggest concerns for drivers considering electric vehicles.
People who have not transitioned to an EV yet really are concerned about range anxiety, right? What happens if I run out of range? What happens when I run out of charge? And one of the things that this deployment does is you will know that you are no more than a handful of miles from an EV charger.
And the city says adoption is already growing. In fact, in 2023, about 3% of all privately owned light-duty cars were EV. And by 2024, that doubled to 6%.
What you find is people are doing it while you're doing something else. So this is, I'm going to plug in and charge while I'm going grocery shopping. I'm going to plug in and charge while I go play basketball or go take my kid to reading time at the library.
Still, the rollout won't happen overnight because high-powered chargers require significant electrical infrastructure, and building that takes time. City leaders say it's about long-term climate goals and cleaner air, but whether building chargers first will truly drive EV adoption in these neighborhoods is something they'll be watching close. For News 8, Vanessa Paz.
Coming up next, a little bit of relief for some SDG&E customers. The changes to how the utility company charges people for electricity. And now the secret to a lower electric bill this summer might be as simple as running major appliances at the right time. We're working for your wallet here. SDG&E is making its super off-peak rates available year-round. News 8's Alex Lai working for you to explain why not everybody will save money, though.
With summer around the corner, many San Diegans are expecting to soon turn on the AC and see higher electricity bills.
It's like they're always raising their prices and there's no real solution to it. I just wish that they would lower their prices.
But now SDG&E is expanding lower priced hours during the day. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., electricity rates drop to their lowest because that's when solar energy production is at its peak. The utility says customers could save around 20% by shifting their usage to those hours.
You know, peak hours in the summer, hot, it's a drain on our electric supply. I think we should all be trying to reduce our use during those peak hours.
Sylvia works from home and says the new hours fit her routine during the week.
I always am conscious of my power use in my workday, and I try to unplug appliances or unplug devices that aren't being used.
But even then, she admits the window has its limits.
Will I do laundry and run the dishwasher between 10 and 2? Probably not, because I will be working. Maybe I'll charge my electric car from 10 to 2, because that's easy to do.
The timing does work well for Maggie, who makes a conscious effort to avoid peak electricity hours.
So we don't do laundry after 4, we don't start it before 9. I'm retired. I can do laundry anytime I want. I'm not restricted by anything.
But weekday daytime hours aren't necessarily convenient for everybody.
For people that work, that's a problem. That's going to be a big problem for people that work. That's kind of not fair to them.
For people working a typical 9-to-5 job, that 4-hour window passes while they're at the office. But SDG&E says if you are able to shift your usage, it could lower your electricity bill.
And that was Alex Lai reporting for SDG&E. Customers with time of use plans. Overnight super off-peak hours are also in place. They run from midnight to 6 a.m. on weekdays and then midnight to 2 p.m. on weekends and holidays. With parking in downtown San Diego at a premium, a new proposal at the county level aims to make hundreds of more spots accessible, possibly more affordable. The Board of Supervisors recently voted to look at new ways to increase parking options at county-owned parking facilities. This proposal gives the green light to explore how to maximize about 850 parking spots in the evenings and on weekends. County Supervisor Joel Anderson proposed the idea.
Hoping that we generate some additional income that we're not getting now from those parking spaces, and at the same time really boosting downtown businesses, restaurants, entertainment areas in the Padres, and we're encouraging more people to come down.
Supervisor Anderson says he's hopeful county staff will come up with a plan over the next month or so to maximize the use of county-owned parking garages. That's going to do it for us. Remember, always email us here, working for you at cbs8.com. Bye-bye.